Late first at Ole Miss. We'll keep you posted on what's going on in that game throughout this game. Three of us will see you at halftime. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik. They get you now at Kyle Field.
And Dari, 102,000 of our closest friends. This is SEC Saturday night from the home of the 12th man, Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. South Carolina looking for its first ever win against Texas A&M in a series that was born when the Aggies entered the SEC. And the Aggies with a win tonight would continue an impressive stretch, having not had a losing season since they joined the Southeastern Conference. Only the elite can say that. Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. It's a night game in conference for the Aggie faithful, and they're here to see a team that has been full of promise since Jimbo Fisher arrived last season. They'll have an opportunity to fulfill that promise because
a lot of blue up there and to hear them, and they made a difference in our
program to play three #1 teams in the same season. That makes this a must-win for the Aggies here tonight against South Carolina. It's hard to find a better entrance in college football. The house that Johnny built comes alive every time the Aggies walk down the hallway. And with the 12th man carrying the flag and a remembrance of the bonfire in '99, it's always a special night at Kyle Field. Sit back, listen, and enjoy. Tough to find anything like it in the SEC or anywhere else. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik down on the field. When you break down this game in this Aggie program, you start with their quarterback, Kellen Mond. He has been one of the most productive quarterbacks in this conference, but when you consider what he's had to put up with to do it, it's impressive.
Yeah, he's been under duress more than any quarterback except one in the country over the last 2 years. So, yes, he's extremely talented, but that's tough to do when you're on your backside a lot of the time.
He's a feature of our State Farm Star Watch. The numbers are incredible. When you face pressure like that, it's almost impossible to have success.
It is, absolutely, but he's done something. He's improved from last season to this in his completion percentage under duress. And there's a ton of talent on this football field on the outside. And when they give Kellen Mond time, here's what you get. You get a quarterback that's extremely accurate. He can stretch the football to all corners of the field. And oh, by the way, if you give him some green grass, he can hurt you with his legs. He is as good of a dual threat guy as there is in college football.
A&M won the toss. They've elected to defer. That means South Carolina will start with the football, and they'll start without one of their best weapons, not just this season, but throughout his career. For more, let's go to the sideline with Cole.
Tom, massive news for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Wide receiver Brian Edwards is not going to go tonight. I spoke to him on the field a few moments ago. He said he had a lingering knee injury going into the Appalachian State game last week. Tweaked it a little bit more, so that right knee is bothering him to the point that they don't want to risk it, and he will not be in uniform for the South Carolina Gamecocks tonight. Massive blow to that offense.
All right, Cole, thanks. To see how South Carolina can answer their needs offensively. Ready for kickoff on an SEC Saturday night. And we're off in Aggie land. No return for South Carolina. And the Gamecocks, who lost their starting quarterback week 1 of the season, Jake Bentley, went down in the loss to North Carolina. They turned the offense over to Ryan Helinski. A freshman has taken advantage of his opportunity. He's already thrown for 2,000 yards with 11 touchdowns. And last week against Appalachian State, his school record streak of 180 consecutive completions without a pick was snapped. trying to get back on the right track tonight. He's got Rico Dowdle in the backfield with him. Kyle Markway, his tight end, will motion. This is Dowdle, and he's got a huge hole on the right side, and a South Carolina first down on a gain of 13 on the first snap.
And that right there is the key to the game, Tom. Last week against Appalachian State in a loss, just 21 rushing yards as a team. You got a true freshman quarterback. You have to run the football to be successful. And if you look at that graphic right there, if they don't run the ball well, they don't win football games.
Dowdle last week had fewer yards and carries. 14 carries, 9 yards, and now out of the backfield, and he's able to take it for 6. How can the short passing game supplement the loss of South Carolina's or the ineffectiveness of the run game?
Well, that's the thing. It's an extension of the run game. When you have a young quarterback, throwing the ball 57 times like they had to last week is just a bad recipe. So if you can get short, easy throws on the outside to supplement that run game, you can slow down a good defensive line that Texas A&M has.
You just saw their second best receiver, Shi Smith, come out of the game for the moment. He's got a lingering hamstring injury. It's loud for the freshman Helinski. Back to Dowdle. First 3 plays, it's been all Rico Dowdle. The first time he's held for no gain. Anthony Hines, the third.
Shi Smith trots back onto the field. Keep an eye on this. With no Brian Edwards, the go-to guy on third down, and really any down throwing the football is going to be Shi Smith. He's got a hamstring injury, so just how healthy he is going to be a story moving forward.
Helinski hasn't played in an environment quite this loud, I don't think. Pressure coming, and it's incomplete and almost picked off of the hand of Charles Oliver. And Rico Dowdle is limping off the field now for South Carolina. They cannot afford any injuries. Dowdle did play in the Tennessee game due to an ankle, and he's got a massive brace on his right knee tonight.
And Texas A&M brought pressure from the nickel cornerback on that play. And with a bunch of wide receivers that haven't played a ton of football, nobody was there with their eyes on Ryan Helinski for a quick hot route.
Beauty of a punt from Joseph Charlton. Anaya Smith, the freshman, takes it inside the 5. Wrong decision. He gets swallowed up. And this is going to be fantastic field position after a 52-yard punt. And Jamie Robinson had the coverage.
Inside the 10-yard line, Smith has got to let this one go. Most of the time you put your heels at 8 yards, and if you have to back up, you just let that bounce into the end zone. They're going to be backed up.
So here's Kellen Mond, third in the SEC in passing yards per game. Junior from San Antonio. Also prepped at IMG. And A&M will keep it on the ground. Isaiah Spiller finds 2. DJ Wadham with the stop.
You know, we talked about Kellen Mond and how much he's been under duress throwing the football this year. Part of how you alleviate that is you run the football better. And I want to see tonight Isaiah Spiller get going. I mean, he's averaging almost 12 yards a carry against non-Power 5, but against good opponents in the Power 5, just 3.3 yards a carry. They got to get the run game going to help out Kellen Mond.
That won't get it done. They're 10th in the conference in rushing yards per game. Mond swings it out to the talented tight end, Jalen Watermeyer. And he picks up a first down on a gain of 9. Jay Sternberger now at the Packers has the weekend off. He's in the building tonight. And he takes great pride in what Watermeyer's been able to accomplish. Just pretty good back-to-back years for A&M tight ends.
And the tight end is so crucial for Jimbo Fisher's offense. It's a little bit old school of a pro-style system. It's predicated off the tight end in the run game and the pass game. In the last 4 games, Watermeyer has absolutely exploded and helped unlock this offense.
Tied for second in the country in receiving touchdowns for a freshman. Empty backfield for Mond. Carolina brings 4. Mond a little bit high, a tad behind. Jamon Osmond has it and picks up 5. He and Mond were roommates at IMG after Osmond bounced around a couple spots in Houston before going to Florida. Has been 5th in the conference in catches per game. Second down 5. First possession for A&M. Quarterback run. Mon to the outside. They had some road graders paving the way. It's a pickup of 11.
And this is what you've seen out of Texas A&M over the past 3-4 games, increasing the amount of times they're running quarterback design runs. You're going to see Isaiah Spiller is a lead blocker here. Actually, I think that's Richardson's the lead blocker there. It's just a quarterback lead. Add an extra hat to the point of attack and help offset a running game that's been kind of hot or cold.
Mon keeps it, wants to throw. What a catch. It's Jalen Weidermeyer again. And it's another Aggie first down on a gain of 23.
When you give Kellen Mond a clean pocket, this is the type of accuracy I'm talking about. Weidermeyer is on a deep cross, and T.J. Brunson, the linebacker, is actually great coverage. You see him spin, track the receiver, but you cannot beat that type of ball location. Great catch and an even better throw by Kellen Mond.
Mond has started this game 3 for 3 through the air. Pocket collapsing. Mond lost the football. And A&M able to fall on it. Dan Moore Jr. out of Beaumont is able to find it and save A&M from a massive issue. And Mond slow to get to his feet. I think we've seen enough injuries to quarterbacks in the league for a day.
It looked like DJ Wanham, the top of your screen there, knocking the ball out of Kellen Mond's hands. It's part of the reason that Kellen Mond's been under duress so much. This offensive line has been inconsistent, especially off the edges against quick, athletic pass rushers, and DJ Wanham is one of them.
Previous play is under further review.
They might be looking at targeting on this play.
Yeah, on that hit on Mond.
Yep. Here it is.
Ooh.
Crown of the helmet right in the sternum. That's T.J. Brunson.
You would call that a defenseless player, so doesn't even necessarily have to be crown of the helmet, but there's definitely crown of the helmet. But where is that? Is that the chest? Is it the neck and head area?
We got Matt Austin watching. He's our rules official. Matt, how do you see this play when it comes to targeting?
I think this will definitely be confirmed as targeting.
All right, thanks, Matt. And it looked a whole lot worse because you got sandwiched between Brunson and Wanham.
That would be a big loss. T.J. Brunson is really the unquestioned leader of this defense.
After further review, number 6 for South Carolina, targeted. He will be disqualified. He will penalize 15 yards from the previous spot. It will be automatic first down.
Matt's audio wasn't working on that last cut in. So, Matt, we heard the officials say it was targeting. Tell us in the audience why.
Yeah, this is textbook targeting. The defender came in, he lowered his head, which is the indicator. There was definitely an attack, and the crown of the helmet made contact, made forcible contact right to the sternum area, as Jordan mentioned. I am not surprised at all that this was confirmed or called from the booth.
I appreciate the clarification. It was a loss of 12. Turns in to a gain of 15, 27-yard difference, and the biggest difference is the starting linebacker has to leave the game. He had 10 tackles against both Tennessee and Georgia, 12 against Missouri. It was second on the team in tackles last year. He's replaced by Damani Staley. He only has 11 tackles on the season. Here's Isaiah Spiller. Spiller picks up 8. He had a big game against UT San Antonio last time out, as Brunson gets escorted to the locker room.
And that's
would you say, and I know you talked about his numbers against less than stellar opponents, would you say that those big games and big numbers show that he has the potential to be a feature back in this league?
Absolutely. And I was going to say on that run right there, what I love is that he got going downhill first and then decided if he had a lane. A lot of times he'll get lateral too soon when there's not a hole, and that's when he gets in trouble. Get downhill, and he's a really good back.
And here's Spiller again. Last time out, Spiller tied an A&M freshman rushing record with 3 touchdowns. The first 2 went for 50 and 60 yards, respectively.
I mean, look, would you love him to be a compliment back? Yeah, because he's about 6 foot, 225, and he's built like a brick house, so he doesn't have the top-end breakaway home run speed. But when you get him going downhill, he can be extremely effective. So early in the season, losing Jayshon Corbin was a big loss, but Spiller's definitely grown in this role, and he's going to be a really good back.
We haven't heard from Javon Kinlaw yet for South Carolina. He can be a wrecker on the interior. Here's Spiller again. And Spiller gets brought down after a couple. Kobe Smith, first one there for South Carolina. A&M has had great success in the red zone. Last 2 games, 10 touchdowns and 11 red zone possessions.
This is an area where South Carolina has struggled on defense. They're 9th in the SEC, allowing their opponents to score on 80% of their drives. Looks like they're going to lock up on the outside and go man-to-man coverage. Better keep an eye on Kellen Mond and his legs.
Mond looking left side. Great catch by Spiller. And he's taken down at the 11. Only 3 that time. And that leaves 3rd down.
Jordan, you mentioned that potential to run for Kellen Mond. I talked to Tavares Robinson, the South Carolina defensive coordinator, before the game. He said, we do have some spy packages. The problem is anybody that I spy him with, they can't really run with him.
And that's why losing T.J. Brunson as well. He's one of those guys that would be spying. He's got some athleticism. South Carolina likes to play man, but when you play man, you're susceptible to that quarterback run.
Trips to the right. Cameron Buckley, the lone receiver, top of the formation. This will be a big stop for South Carolina. Mond scans. He got dropped. He turned to look to his right, and he looked right at Kingsley Enagbare. It's a loss of 7.
Boy, and this is what it is, just beating your man one-on-one. Watch this right here. He's going to be on Kenyon Green, the talented true freshman guard, and he just rips him out of the way. That's big boy football right there, man on man.
This will be a 35-yard attempt for Seth Small. And he punches it through. A 10-play, 78-yard drive. But with the exception of losing the starting linebacker, that felt like a win for South Carolina's defense with a red zone stop. Pretty good. Thanks, Zari. 2 guys who spent time together on the same staff at Auburn. Seth Small kicks it away. Xavier Legette with a chance for a return. Legette to the 20. And gets dragged down at the 24. Cole, what do you got?
This South Carolina offense, guys, is going to rely heavily on gap scheme runs, pin and pull schemes. So you're going to have someone blocking down and somebody pulling around. Traditional power play, just going to pull your backside guard, trying to kick out and find a seam in the middle of the offensive line. You're also going to see a stretch play. Front side guard and center both going to pull around. Very rare to have a center like Donnell Stanley that's able to even do it. And then your traditional counter play where you're trying to get the defenses off balance, pulling the backside guard and backside tackle. As you see Tavian Fisher be able to find some space there. They rely heavily on it. They gave us a lot on the first possession, and they're going to get a lot the rest of this game, guys.
See, Cole, I learned a lot more from that than our demo for SEC Nation where you planted me in the Kyle Field turf.
Maybe you don't remember it.
There's a good chance. Could have just spent some time in the film room. Helinski over the middle, wide open, and a chance to run after the catch for Chavis Dawkins. It's a gain of 21. We talked about A&M's poor offensive line play. South Carolina's line play seems to be a key in their wins versus losses. That upset win they had against Georgia came in a game where they didn't allow Helinski or to carry on Joyner to be sacked. Helinski's got to check. Now he's got to communicate. Dowdle got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was it. Buddy Johnson and a bunch of his buddies in there.
Cole mentioned those gap scheme runs last week against App State. This team really struggled with the movement of the D-line. Anytime that D-line starts to stunt or play games, that's when gap schemes get difficult. You have to think a little bit. You're hesitant, you're not powerful, and they don't work. They had to switch to zone schemes in the second half, so they'd like to lean on the gap scheme. We'll see if they can handle it early in this game.
Dowdle ripped down from behind. Justin Matabike is in there for a loss of 4. You went back and watched that Appalachian State film as we take another look at the pressure.
And this is just a run stunt. You're going to see the backside linebacker see the pulling guards and sprint to fill it. That's a tough one. That movement right there is really tough for the gap scheme to take care of. That's why you get a zone. You kind of wash everything, create a wall. So far, the gap schemes are having trouble.
I'll ask you about App in a moment. 3rd and 14. And incomplete. When you watch that App film, that Appalachian State seemed like they had better personnel on the field than South Carolina.
You know what? I don't know if better personnel. They had better effort. That's for sure. I mean, that team fought hard. And when you flipped on the film, it wasn't a fluke. There wasn't crazy penalties and unbelievable special teams plays and turnovers. They got beat. They got beat on both sides of the line of scrimmage by a team that just played harder.
There's a team that had been in the top 25 just a couple of weeks before they were upset at home on Halloween night. We got a bunch of movement, and we got a hanky on the ground.
Before the snap, false start offense. Number 24, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Steve Marlowe, our white hat tonight. So that'll back up Joseph Charlton, senior out of AC Flora right there in Columbia. Pretty good lacrosse team there at AC Flora. 3rd in the country in punting behind a couple of SEC punters, including A&M's guy, Braden Mann. Here's Anais Smith. He's got room. And a shake at the 40. Smith, the freshman, showed his promise on that one after a bad decision on the first punt return. 46-yard punt. He got 29 back. All smiles going to break. Champion, the South Carolina team, coming off of a home loss. They're trying to get it right, and they got to worry about this guy.
He's been absolutely dynamic. Easy throw to start the game. But his athleticism at his size is something special. Watch this block coming from backside. This is something an offensive lineman would do, and this has been the knock on him. Is can he block effectively right there, running Israel Mukwamu, a big corner out of the way, and this ball, and the extension, and the catch. Something special.
And those came on back-to-back plays. Mon gets taken down again. Another sack for South Carolina. It's Enoch Bari again. Had some help with Javon Kinlaw.
That time, no quick routes for Mon to get the ball out of his hands. He saw it and tried to step up in the pocket, but just too much from that defensive line. And Kinlaw, you know, Kinlaw's a guy that you flip on film one game and he looks like a top 10 pick, and you flip on film another game like last week against App State and you're like, he just disappears. Looking for consistency out of him, because when he turns it on, he's as good as there is in the country.
Mond is 4 for 4, but he's been sacked twice. He's 5 for 5 now, and Weidermeyer, his key target. That time, the tight end picks up 4.
You guys mentioned Javon Kinlaw sort of disappearing. That game last week, he was cut a lot. App State is an outside zone football team, and there are a lot of backside cutters. They're going low on his knees. Not saying anything illegal, but there were some that were very questionable. I was surprised that more weren't called in that game, but his frustration visibly came out. And some members of the coaching staff told me that that was a big reason that he struggled last week as well.
That frustrates you, and sometimes when you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel and you're talked about as a first-round draft pick, guys start diving at your knees, you get out of there quick.
Make business decisions. On 3rd and 9, Mon down the sideline, his first miss of the night. Kendrick Rogers, defended by the linebacker Ernest Jones, their leading tackler.
Just great coverage on the outside, man-to-man.
Well, don't you think that A&M would typically love that matchup, a wide receiver on the linebacker?
Yeah, they would, but it was tight coverage on the outside, and that's something Ramon's trying to put it up on the shelf. Back shoulder, but high for his big frame 6'4" receiver Kendrick Rogers, and he just missed on that one.
J.C. Horn back to receive this punt from Braden Mann, who's leading the nation in punting. The reigning Ray Guy Award winner at a school that produces loads of punters. What a deke by J.C. Horn. He ran all the way outside the opposite hash, and the ball checked down outside the numbers. About 50 yards away. 36-yard punt. Ball beat the 17. The big news outside of the league, inside the league today, was Tua Tagovailoa. We've got an update on that after this play, as South Carolina sees the field again with Ryan Helinski. Helinski looking for a deep ball. Good touch, and that is complete to Shi Smith. Deep down the sideline, and it goes for 41.
And with no Brian Edwards, this is so important to have a healthy Shi Smith back on the football field from a hamstring injury, because he's the only guy outside Edwards that's been able to stretch the field for South Carolina.
Helinski swings it out. A lot of room on the sideline now. And Kevin Harris gets taken down. Gain of 11. South Carolina wants to run some tempo here. Dr. Lyle Kane, Alabama's team orthopedic surgeon, sent out a release moments ago through Bama. Tagovailoa sustained a right hip dislocation. He's undergoing further testing. Expected to make a full recovery, but will miss the remainder of this season. And college football has lost one of its most dynamic players. Helinski finds his tight end. That's Kyle Markway. It's a pickup of 11.
And this is where Ryan Helinski's at his best, playing with tempo, and Brian McClendon dialing up easy conceptual throws. Things that don't change. The read is 1, 2, 3 every time.
Shot, end zone, off the hands of the intended receiver, Leggett, the freshman.
And see, they're keeping it simple. That's the exact same play as last time. It's Y stick. You got a vertical on the outside, 2 out-breaking routes on the inside. And the quarterback reads that outside in. Loved his matchup on the outside to the true freshman, Xavier Leggett. And it was that close.
What exactly does Y stick mean? What does that
just
refer
means
to?
The tight end's doing a little stick route, so an out-breaking option route, and then outside of that you have an out-breaking route and a vertical. It's read the same way against every coverage. That's why McClendon likes it for his young quarterback in tempo.
Leggett came out for at least one play. Joyner, the backup quarterback, is in the backfield. Helinski harassed, and that one's incomplete. Chased by Michael Clemens. And the officials trying to figure out if he had a receiver in the area or if he was out of the pocket. They're going to talk about this and a possibility of intentional grounding. No flag yet.
And A&M.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 84 was in the vicinity.
A&M thankful to have Michael Clemens back and healthy. In his absence, kind of opened up the door for true freshman DeMarvin Leal, number 8, a defensive end who's played really well.
They got Joyner in at quarterback now. He was key in the overtime win against Georgia. Play clock's already at 3. Dowdle flips. They get it off. Joyner's got Dowdle to block, and he needed somebody else. He found nothing. And that'll bring on 4th down.
We're going to see Joyner mixed in and out of this game. Offensive coordinator for South Carolina, Brian McClendon, has a plan for him on every single series. But just like Shi Smith, he's dealing with a hamstring injury too, so got to be careful with how much they use Joyner, even though they need him as much as possible.
37-yard attempt for Parker White. Drifting right, but it'll stay true. And South Carolina has tied the game on a 7-play, 63-yard drive. Parker White. Makes his 16th field goal of the season. And the Gamecocks have locked this thing up early. Fisher's offense led by Kellen Mond and Jalen Weidermeyer, but they have yet to find the end zone after South Carolina came up with a sack on their first possession, forcing a field goal. Ryan Helinski's found some rhythm. He had a big 41-yard completion to Shi Smith. No chance for a return. This is a big game for both sides. It may be key in the future of Will Muschamp. This week, South Carolina Athletics Director Ray Tanner released this statement. The meat and potatoes say, I want to make it clear that Will Muschamp is our football coach and will be our coach going forward. There's not much in that. And I got to wonder what good it does to put out a statement like that. You may have been better off just saying, we'll reevaluate at the end of the season.
Yeah, or making a stronger statement, not using words like today. You know what I mean? There's a lack of kind of
conviction.
Yeah, conviction in that statement. Which
so then the question is, and here's Spiller, and he's got another big one. Spiller bounces it outside, and Spiller slow to get to his feet. He got popped out by Jamie Robinson. I think every time you put out a message, opposing coaches, when it comes to recruiting, they're going to parse that message. They're going to pick out exactly they want to make you look bad and them look good, and they're going to disseminate that to everybody that you're both recruiting.
Yeah, that statement right there is very damaging in recruiting. I mean, it really is for a team that just built brand new facilities, is trying to get some momentum headed in recruiting in the right direction, even in an off season. That's tough.
A win today against Texas A&M would be the first for South Carolina in the series history against the Aggies. It would go a long way to getting a more complete statement later. We're tied at 3 through 1 quarter at a sold-out Kyle Field. Song Varsity's Horns here at the home of the 12th man, Kyle Field in College Station. And they're getting all they can handle from South Carolina early. Spiller. Flip, pardon me, that's Cordarian Richardson with a gain of 9. Let's go back to the studio. Dari.
All right, Tom, Ole Miss is on the board. You know John Rice Plumlee and his ability to run will get his as he takes that into the end zone. He's run for 46 yards, but it's a 28-7 Tiger lead.
All right, Dari, thanks. A&M still has LSU on the schedule Thanksgiving weekend. If form holds, that'll be the 3rd #1 team that they will face this season. That's never happened before in college football. Here's Spiller back into the game, and he gets bottled up and finds nothing. And so the importance of this game for Jimbo Fisher, trying to get to that 7th win, you just don't know what is next given the competition coming up. It's a team that will have to go to Athens to take on Georgia and then finish the season on the road in Baton Rouge.
That's brutal. And really, they've won the games we thought they would win this year, and so far they've lost the games that we kind of circled on the calendar before the season.
Isaiah Spiller getting some coaching from Jimbo. Meanwhile, Kobe Smith, senior from right outside of Atlanta out of Archer High School, is being tended to. They're looking at his left ankle.
So I think a lot of the growth, the evaluation of Jimbo Fisher here at Texas A&M this year is going to be the competitiveness in those games. Obviously, yeah, you'd love to win one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be huge. But how competitive are you on the road against the best at the end of the season?
Last year,
developing and growing this program.
Sorry, they were competitive here at home against Clemson. This season, at Clemson, they weren't. They lost 24-10. Kellen Mond did not have a great game.
No, and that game was further out of hand than the score really looked when you watch the film of it. They didn't play well that game at all. I think they averaged like 1 point something yards a rush. They couldn't run the football. Mond was on the ground.
Alabama came in here and put 47 on the board against them. 2 yards for Kellen Mond on the sneak, and a Texas A&M first down. At Georgia, at LSU. I think either one of those would be such a huge boost to this fan base, to the recruiting efforts for this coaching staff.
And even more so than winning one of those, I want to see Texas A&M start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Right? In games like this is important. You can't just squeak by in games like this if you're going to be a team that's going to win championships in the West.
Spiller straight ahead is able to find 3. Cole, we were talking about that yesterday on local radio. You said it's as much about the culture as it is the personnel.
Yeah, I think it's culture wins. You can go, Texas A&M can go out-talent some teams, but it's how you manage those games. And like you guys are mentioning, being competitive in those games, the culture is what should allow you to come out and play against an opponent tonight, like Jordan just mentioned. You should come out, handle your business. You have better players in different areas, and you should be able to win by multiple scores.
Well, they've got their hands full here, averaging 5.5 yards per play. This is Mon dancing through the line. And Kellen Mond finally brought down by JT eBay after a gain of 6.
And these are just simple zone concepts that we're seeing Texas A&M kind of get 4, 5, 6, 7 yards of pop because of some of the misdirection. Talking to Jimbo Fisher, changing things up in the run game has been really just some window dressing in the bye week. Add some misdirection. So you're seeing 2 running backs, one's arcing, trying to pull the eyes of some linebackers, and then they're hitting it up between the tackles. And so far, it's been working.
6 straight runs for A&M. Man comes on late on 3rd and 2. Spiller spills this to the outside. He's got an Aggie first down on a run of 18 yards.
And again, watch the misdirection here. You're going to see a tight end come all the way across the line of scrimmage. That's going to grab the eyes of the linebackers just a little bit, and then Spiller is able to bounce it on the outside for a big gain.
South Carolina once again running personnel off and on a little bit late.
Here's a dangerous area of the field for play action. We've seen a few successful runs back to back to back.
Mon, play action, lobs in zone, touchdown, Cordarian Richardson. Great call, partner. It's a 17-yard lob for the score.
Great play action. It's the same play design that we saw on a quarterback run earlier in the game. Richardson and Weidemeyer coming on pull routes. They run hard and leak the running back wide open.
The play action came after 7 consecutive runs. Seth Small adds the point after. We got our first touchdown of the game. Kellen Mond to Cordarian Richardson, who didn't have a catch all season, coming into this one. Can't get much easier than that. 10-3 A&M. That would be big, but wouldn't surprise me. Matt Rule might be the next hottest coach next to Lincoln Riley. And the folks that play on Sundays have taken notice of what he's done down in Waco. Let's take it back to the touchdown. How did this work?
Well, backup linebacker Damani Staley, who replaced T.J. Brunson, ejected for targeting, is going to be man-to-man on Richardson. Watch the eyes in the play action on the backfield. Gets him caught, and then he's too late to recover from that. And just a perfect play call. That's the thing, when you can lull a defense to sleep, breaking out 4, 5, 6, 7-yard runs time after time, that's when the play action is so dangerous.
That T.J. Brunson ejection came early. Cost South Carolina one of its most dependable defenders. Ryan Helinski will go ahead and scramble for it. It came on the 6th play of the game. Well, Brunson was ejected.
That's difficult. I mean, you got a reserve linebacker in. The hardest thing for a linebacker in play action is not getting your eyes caught in the backfield. And you got to notice that running back, his arc is a little wider than you normally see on a run game. But we don't get the reps. It's tough to see sometimes.
Indeed. 2nd and 7. Rico Dowdle lost the football, and South Carolina falls on it. Jordan Rhodes making his 8th straight start at left guard, able to fall on it. It goes for a gain of 3. Buddy Johnson forced it.
It's a great job by Jordan Rhodes just falling on the ball there. That would have been bad.
Here comes the crowd on third down. Safety coming, pressure, and it's incomplete. South Carolina 0 for 4 on third down tonight.
They bring safety pressure here, and Ryan Helinski actually sees this coming, and he's going to the right receiver. He's going replacing the safety blitz. He sees it coming, replaces it with a slant route there.
Keldrick Carper got his hand on it.
Yeah, really good job. When you don't hit home, get your hands up.
And Nia Smith should have room for a return. It takes an Aggie hop. We got a flag on the near side of the field after a 36-yard punt. We got 2 flags.
During the kick, holding receiving team number 28. Penalized 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down.
Aggies lead South Carolina 10-3, looking to add to that when we return.
Coaches there. Jimbo was our offensive coordinator, and Will Muschamp was the defensive GA. So he handled the offensive scout team that I was center on when I first got to Auburn.
How did that work out for you?
Pretty intense.
Here's Mond. And the play action. Oh, my goodness. Right off the hands of the defender. And an interception was sitting in the lap of Chris Russell.
So when you're on scout team, Tom, essentially what happens is the guy who runs the scout team has a card, and he shows you the formation. And you just basically run the play. It's going to tell you where the plays go. And there will be multiple days that Will Muschamp, Kublik, just run what's on the card. Just run what's on the card, Kublik.
Wait, were you trying to freelance with scout team? Or you had a problem with authority back then?
There might be some days that I thought maybe a different blocking scheme would work a little bit better than what Bill Oliver thought would work. But, hey, you know.
Don't go against Brother Bill. 2nd and 10 now for A&M. Jimbo yesterday recounted the story how he introduced Muschamp to Saban. Out of the backfield, it's the tight end. Weidermeyer's got room. What a nifty move, and he takes it into South Carolina territory on a 31-yard catch and run. Dude's got wheels.
Yeah, he is athletic, man. And again, a little play action in the backfield catches the eyes of Jamar Brown, the true freshman linebacker, and gives Weidemeyer the space. And he's special when the ball's in his hands.
LSU was preparing for the 2000 Peach Bowl when Will Muschamp was on the staff at Valdosta State. They didn't have anything going on around the holidays. He was back with his wife's family in Atlanta, and he looked up Jimbo and said, "Hey, I'm kind of bored. Can I come by practice?" Saban said, "Who is this guy? Isn't he from Georgia?" He said, "No, coach, it's okay. He played at Georgia. He hates Georgia Tech. It's okay." Mond flicks it out. It's Weidermeyer again. And another big play. So during that practice, Muschamp was introduced to Saban, and they just stood on the side of the field at the Georgia Dome talking defense for about 10-15 minutes. And Jimbo told him, he said, when you have an opening, this is the guy for it. And sure enough, 2 months later, Muschamp was hired to be on Saban's staff. He went with them to the Dolphins, and he's been part of that coaching tree since. Mond has it. And he's got a stiff arm. Jacked down by DJ Wanham. Pickup of 2 for Kellen Mond.
They want to try to sprinkle in some of these quarterback runs, but talking to Jimbo Fisher, he said that bye week came at a good time. Kellen Mond was a little banged up. Last 3 or 4 weeks prior, they've been running him a little more than normal. But when they're struggling running the football, they've had to lean on Kellen Mond, both throwing and rushing as well.
Not ideal, huh?
Not what you want to do, but you got to do what you got to do to get the ball going on the ground.
Only 4 quarterbacks in the Power 5 has been as durable and diverse as he has. Courtney Davis on the catch. Gain of 3. And here the Aggies sideline wanting targeting on the end of this one. Jamie Robinson, number 7. They might have a point. Targeting can be initiated by the replay booth. That's what happened in the first quarter with T.J. Brunson.
I think he did a good job there of not dipping the crown of his helmet, keeping his face mask and his eyes up to the tackle. You got to be careful on a receiver that's defenseless going down.
Pressure on 3rd down. Mon on a crossing route. He finds Anaya Smith, and we'll see if that's enough. Spot will be good for a Texas A&M first down.
It's a good physical tackle in open space by J.C. Horn, but
good thing we didn't have anybody manning that camera. That would have hurt.
Let's just give it to Cole and give him down there. You know?
We could. We should have a
payback for him hitting you.
We should have a Cole cam. Don't think his bangs would get in the way. 4-man rush. Mon. That was out of bounds, but what a sensational catch by Israel Mukuamu, who picked off Jake Fromm 3 times in South Carolina's upset against Georgia.
You got to be really careful throwing the ball in the direction of Israel Mukuamu. You mentioned 3 interceptions against Jake Fromm. Mon trying to go back shoulder there, but he is 6'4". He is long. He gets great eyes on the quarterback, so it's tough to get anything on him. It's a good thing that one was a little far outside.
Had a pick 6 against Fromm and 11 tackles in South Carolina's win. A win that might just be good enough to keep Georgia out of the college football playoff. Mon looking for a throwback. Couldn't get set, and so he sends it to a yell leader. They're known for their yells, not for their hands.
Well, Damani Staley.
There's no foul for grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
They're trying to throw a wheel route on the backside to Isaiah Spiller, and Damani Staley, who got burned on the touchdown, he stays home this time. Does a really good job of not getting fooled twice and forces Kellen Mond to throw the football away.
Enoch Bari got in the backfield again. He already has a sack and a half against Mon tonight. Mon misfires on that one. Either that or the freshman Anaya Smith ran the wrong route, and it leaves 4th down. R.J. Roderick the coverage.
And that's the thing. If that route is 2 or 3 yards too short, it could look like a complete miss by Kellen Mond, but it might be an accurate throw. You don't know with a true freshman out there.
I think it's key. It's not necessarily the wrong route. It could just be a bad route.
Yeah, and it could just be a couple yards short. It's tough to tell out there when you get going 10, 15 yards downfield. But if you stop that 2 yards short, the throw could be way off.
Small from 42. Starts it left, leaves it left. And a missed opportunity for Texas A&M. Well, Muschamp's team will count that as a win. Now can their offense find the end zone? Touchdown here tonight at Kyle Field. 102,000 plus in the building. The Disney bundle is now available. You get ESPN Plus with great content like NFL Primetime, UFC, NHL, and the 30 for 30 library, and you get Disney Plus and Hulu. It's an amazing package of movies, sports, and shows. Go to ESPNplus.com to sign up now. I got 2 words for you. Baby Yoda.
What is that?
You need to sign up and then go watch The Mandalorian.
I'm a big Star Wars guy,
You'll
so
see
I'm
Baby
going to
Yoda
get on there as soon as I get home Sunday. That's the first thing I'm doing.
Start eating frogs. 2nd down.
By the way, Cedarius Hutcherson, the left tackle, is playing receiver.
He's not moving very well. That pass is complete. He would have been ineligible out there, right? It's a gain of 10. Cole, what are they trying to accomplish by putting him out there?
Well, it's just a way to overload things in a way to create lineup violations, alignment violations. You want different guys to line up because they see a different number where it's not supposed to be, and just try to steal yards.
Kevin Harris picks up 3.
You know, Tom, this offense has used unbalanced looks the entire season, but I expected more tonight, especially without Bryan Edwards in the lineup. He's the one that usually helps you stretch the defense and forces defenses to play you different ways. You move guys around, sometimes it opens things up.
More opportunity, that's for sure. South Carolina second in the league in total plays, and Edwards leading the conference with 7 catches per game. Unavailable tonight. Helinski finds Harris, and Harris stays on his feet. It's a gain of 9. Bryan Edwards, the all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards for South Carolina. Unavailable tonight. TJ Brunson was ejected in the 6th play of the game. They're missing 2 key players, 1 on each side of the ball, and an injured player for Texas A&M.
Elijah Blades.
.5:17 left before the half. South Carolina driving down a touchdown. Hear what you have to say at the half. Also an update on Oklahoma getting dominated by Baylor tonight. Backward pass, time for another, and that is a strike to the tight end. Shi Smith delivered it, and then it got jammed by O'Neal, and it came out. Hit him so hard he lost his towel.
Well, Brian McClendon said we're going to see a whole bag of tricks trying to get things going on offense. It's a really good throw, but just an even better play by the safety here recovering.
Leon O'Neal Jr. on 2nd and 10. Helinski to the slant, and that one's incomplete. You heard Gene Chizik mention it a moment ago. South Carolina needs to find some first downs. They need to get the running game going. The danger of getting creative is now you've had back-to-back completions, and you're in danger of punting it right
now. It's 3rd and 10. Yeah, I mean, you can do that every now and then, but you got to be able to run the football. South Carolina just 39 rushing yards in the last 5.5 quarters of football. That's not good enough.
It's abysmal. A&M showed a corner blitz. They back off.
They're going to check out of that.
3rd and dime box. Floated to the tight end Markway. He is swallowed up immediately by Charles Oliver. It's only a gain of 1. Leon O'Neal brought the pressure that time, and then Oliver had the coverage.
It's actually a really good job by Helinski. So they showed the corner blitz, and then South Carolina looks to the sideline, and Texas A&M switches and brings the pressure from the opposite side. So Helinski had to get rid of that quick, did all he could. That's the thing. You can't get this football team in 3rd and 10s. That's not where they can operate successfully. Got to be better on 1st and 2nd.
They haven't had any successful 3rd downs tonight. 0 for 5. Joseph Charlton to Anais Smith. Great hang time. Smith asks for fair catch, and he takes it at the 10.
Man, shopping at Academy is such an experience. It's like fun you didn't even know you needed. All over the place. It's everywhere. What? Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. So help me if you want to.
I'd love to. Kellen Mond and the Texas A&M offense averaging a little bit better than 6 yards per play, almost 6.5, yet they only have 10 points here in the first half. This is Courtney Davis, and it's a gain of 8.
And I love watching Courtney Davis. They got some good receivers here at A&M, and Jamon Osmond and a big target in Kendrick Rogers, but Courtney Davis is the most dynamic of the group, and you're going to see these quick throws just to get him the ball in space. At 6'2", 200 pounds, he plays much more like a guy that's 5'11", 185. He's so quick, such a precise route runner, and a really dangerous target.
He's 2 touchdowns away from being in the Aggies' top 10 in school history. On 2nd and 2, Isaiah Spiller.
You know, Jordan, you mentioned those quick throws that Kellen Mond seems to be so accurate with. Ask Jimbo Fisher on the field before the game. Is it hard for you, as a guy who is in your DNA, to be a run-first offensive mind, to say maybe being a pass-first guy and switching over, maybe throwing the ball a little bit more than you run the football? He said it's been very difficult for me. I know we're good at it. I know it's something we might be better at, but still, my DNA and my beliefs, what I've done my entire career, says be a run-first offense.
I want to follow up on that after this play. Mond, by the way, has started this game 11 of 16, and he'll throw here. And there's Davis again. And Davis gets ripped down by Ernest Jones, a gain of 5. Cole, do you think they would be better if they made that change?
I personally do. I think that my belief is always to go with your talent. And I think Texas A&M's talent right now is at wide receiver and quarterback. And Jordan can tell you, we watched the film together. Kellen Mond is on point with his intermediate throws, with his quick throws. I think that could essentially be a large portion of your run game. You spread defenses out, you wear them down, get them tired, having to play protection and coverage the majority of the time. Then you try to run later in the game.
Balanced play calling tonight. Almost right down the middle. Option look. Mond will keep it, and he got stuck. It's Ernest Jones again, their leading tackler. In on back-to-back stops, the sophomore from Waycross, Georgia.
And they're in 21 personnel right here. So that's 2 running backs and 1 tight end. And one of the reasons that maybe they don't go to a pass-first offense is because you look at the numbers that we showed at the beginning of the game, Kellen Mond gets hit a lot. Now, what I'll say is that when you have 2 tight ends and 2 running backs in the game, that invites the defense to add an extra 1 or 2 linebackers to the point of attack. So they're rushing Kellen Mond more. Whereas maybe you go 4 wide receivers, spread it out a little bit, teams wouldn't try to bring the pressure that they're able to do out of 12 and 21 personnel.
2 sacks tonight for South Carolina's defense. Batted away, and a flag on it. Mukwamu. Ooh, Mukwamu's got to be careful. He is not happy, and he's letting the officials know about it. We've already left a starting linebacker. Can't afford to lose him.
Pass interference, defense, number 24. The ball will be placed at the spot of the automatic first down.
Here's a look.
That's a whip route on the outside, so Osmond's going to fake in. He's going to try to pull out. That's that little tug right there. The tug on the right hand, right on the number 2 of Jamon Osmond. That's too easy for a ref to see. Yeah, it's close, and it was quick. But they're going to call that every time when you grab jersey.
Beautiful catch to Jamon Osmond, sitting at home, and it's a gain of 16.
You just see when Kellen Mond is a clean pocket, when he can drop back and use his eyes. He was looking to the right side of the field that time, came back quickly to the left and threw an accurate pass to Osmond in the slot.
Mond to the outside, and that one's complete for another Aggie first down. Anais Smith.
Last play, a clean pocket. This play under duress with pressure on his backside. That's a big boy throw. I mean, one of the reasons that people are saying, you know, Kellen could have an option to go to the NFL after this year. I don't think he will. But those type of throws from the opposite hash all the way across the field, on target, under pressure, those are the throws you have to make at the next level.
Talked about them being maybe more effective as a pass first. That's what they're doing on this drive at the 2-minute. Of the 7 plays, 5 of them have been passes, and that one dropped by Osmond. Pretty good indicator when you're running the 2-minute how effective this offense could be pass first.
Yeah, and one of the things I was talking about personnel grouping earlier in this drive, they've been in 11 personnel. So 1 running back, 1 tight end, which means Kellen has the defense spread out, and he can look and evaluate pre-snap what kind of coverage it is, and he's more effective making his reads and going in the right places with the football.
Again to throw. Pocket collapses. Mond is going to take off. Mond's got room. He's got it to the 15, and he takes it all the way down to the 13-yard line. A scramble of 24 against the pressure.
Oh, this is just a really good job by Kellen Mond stepping up in the pocket. And what I love about this is he almost checks this ball down to his running back, but instead trusts his speed and uses his legs to hit an even bigger play.
Timeout. Texas A&M, their first of the half. 30-second timeout.
Nice vision by Mon to put A&M on the doorstep here before the half comes to an end. And coming up at the half, you can watch a live performance of the Fighting Texas Aggie Band on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the app.
Another good lesson on that replay for all young quarterbacks out there is Kellen Mond does such a good job of keeping two hands on the ball every time he navigates the pocket. I mean, it's hard to do. As a quarterback, stuff breaks down. Your natural tendency is to drop it to your hip. But watch what he does. Working the left side, feels pressure, steps up, two hands on the ball all the time. Thinks about dumping it off, but trusts his legs there.
He's worked a lot with Jimbo Fisher on his mechanics. That's where Jimbo's eyes go first when he spends time with the QB.
Yeah, you watch any Jimbo Fisher quarterback, you see that ball pressed on the back shoulder. Two hands, it's higher than most quarterbacks hold it. Jimbo wants that ball in throwing position at all times with two hands. Something that Kellen Mond didn't naturally do before he came here, but has adapted, and now it's just second nature.
First drive of the night for A&M. South Carolina got a key sack on third down and forced a field goal. They'd love to repeat that. Mond takes a shot, and it's batted down. That time the coverage by Jamie Robinson. And Robinson might need a minute.
Trying to hit Anais Smith here in the slot. Boy, it's a bang play and a great play by Robinson to break that up.
Jammed up his hand when he made the play.
Watch Courtney Davis here in the slot.
Mond has time, and that's incomplete. Kendrick Rogers was draped by Israel Mukwamu.
I'm not so sure there wasn't a little miscommunication here. You're going to have a high-low concept on the inside. Yeah, I think Kellen's trying to get that ball to Jamon Osmond on a fade route in the slot. And he just got a little tied up in man coverage.
On 3rd and 10, they'll bring Weidermeyer out. Replace him with another wide receiver. A&M has a couple of timeouts remaining if they want them. Mond looking for Courtney Davis in the end zone. Overshot him. And South Carolina's going to force a field goal attempt. It was Enoch Bari with the sack on the first possession, and that time it's Enoch Bari with the pressure on Mond to force the incompletion.
Yeah, Texas A&M's got a good look here, trying to hit Courtney Davis on a corner route from the inside slot, but the pressure causes Mond to throw the ball too early and inaccurately. Otherwise, if he has time, he probably delivers an accurate throw there.
30-yard attempt. And it's good. So Seth Small able to add to the Texas A&M lead. 10-point advantage with a cannon blast. You weren't expecting that. That'll wake you up a little bit. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. This game for South Carolina is really interesting because they're making enough small plays defensively to stay within striking distance. But how can they find their offense?
They got to run the football. They got to be better on first down. I mean, you can't put Ryan Helinski in 3rd and longs, drive after drive, with just 18 rushing yards so far this game. It's a grand total of 39, almost in the last 6 quarters of football. Unacceptable.
Okay, so South Carolina won't have much time towards the end of this half, and we'll see what it looks like in the second half. Remember, they're playing without not only the top wide receiver this season, but the top wide receiver in school history, Brian Edwards. So Helinski without that safety blanket. Edwards reduced to being a fan in this one. Xavier Legette back to receive this kick. I thought horns down was illegal. You might flag the band if it was a Big 12 crew. 26 seconds remaining. What's the play call here for South Carolina?
Well, you have timeouts, but I'd say something safe. A screen, or a basic run here to see if he can spit one for 10 or 15 yards and maybe get something going. But safe play call here to start the drive.
This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Helinski skips it low. Helinski's had some games where he's put the ball up a lot. 51 attempts against Tennessee, 5th most in school history. 57 attempts in the loss against Alabama. Back-to-back incompletions.
Yeah, you got to be careful here after 2 straight incompletions. I think this is where you kind of might think about shutting this one down. A run play, either force Texas A&M to use a timeout. Last thing you want to do is throw one to Texas A&M here, trying to force the ball when you only have 18 seconds.
Good news is South Carolina's got a great punter. They'll run it. A&M will use the timeout, and they'll force a punt with 13 seconds left. We'll see if A&M is able to come after it.
Timeout. Texas A&M, their second of the half, and a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 15 seconds. 1-5.
In South Carolina's loss at Tennessee, Joseph Charlton had 1 punt blocked for a touchdown. He had another one returned for a touchdown. So as great as he is from an average standpoint, there may be an opportunity there for the Aggies. Remember, Anaya Smith had a great return early. How do you feel about feedback? Somebody put the fender down. Is that the official's microphone?
That might be. The whole stadium right now is going, oh, come on. The cat claws on a chalkboard.
Why are you putting your cat on a chalkboard?
I don't know. Isn't that? Oh, gosh. What?
Cole, did you unplug something?
I'm going to go unplug the speaker here in a minute. Security guy down here is trying to unplug it himself. Go ahead, get it. Pull it out.
What is going on right now? No one knows what to do.
Is this Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
He's just pushing buttons down here.
Jimbo, what do you think about it?
Just pull the plug.
Hey, if you can read lips there, he's a little confused as we are. Yeah, unplug that, Cole. Just tackle it.
My favorite part might be the security guy looking at me and asking me what to do. I told you, just pull the plug on the whole thing. That's all I got for you.
This has got to be a first, right?
Well, welcome to the beluga whale conversation of the night.
That or like an alien invasion, maybe? I mean, hey, there we go. Oh, not so soon. Hey. You're going to start booing the microphones in here. The 12th man is not happy. All right. We got 15 seconds left. Let's see if we can get
you guys,
through this.
You guys will have all of halftime to try to solve it. They got it! Charlton evades it. Now he'll run. And South Carolina picks up the first down. Wow, he had 2 Aggies right in front of him, including Keldrick Carper, and it turns into an 11-yard run for the punter.
Wow. Look at this play. I mean, it is blocked. If that is kicked, it is. Oh, the little whoop.
Oh,
see ya.
Lucy, Charlie Brown, what happened?
He almost slides too soon, too. I mean, he's not used to running that football. They spot that at the start of your slide. He just barely gets it.
Timeout. South Carolina, their first of the half. 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 4 seconds.
I mean, that saves 3, if not 7 points.
Will Muschamp not happy with the protection. That's Eric Douglas.
You think he missed a block?
He could be the guy. I think Eric Douglas would rather hear the reverb.
Yeah.
At this point. 4 seconds left. You tee one up or you just take a knee?
I would just take a knee. I mean, after South Carolina came out, tried to hit a few things early in that drive, I would hand it off here, something safe, or take a knee. It looks like they're probably going to hand the ball off.
A&M will put 3 safeties way deep, all the way back inside the 5. They rush 3 from just one side. See if Helinski's got the strength. They'll go underneath and out of bounds, and it'll help pad the stats, but it will bring an end to the first half on the catch by Chandler Farrell. Texas A&M runs 41 plays in the first half. They average 6 yards per play, but they're held to just 1 touchdown. A couple of red zone stops for Will Muschamp's South Carolina defense. Kellen Mond has been versatile tonight. He's been the key for the Aggies all season. And Jimbo Fisher's team trying to find more efficiency in the second half. He's standing by with Cole.
Coach, how do you turn field goals and field goal attempts into touchdowns in the second half?
Execute in the red zone. Just got to execute, be a little more physical, give them a little more protection on some time, and be able to run the ball down there.
Your tight ends have been critical in your offensive game plan. Why did that part of your offense have success?
Well, we got reads with him, and he's one-on-one. He's winning the matchups.
Have to like what you see from your defense so far?
So far, they have been. Played really good ball. We just got to capitalize. Let that daggone block punt get away right there, and had the chance to put a few more points on this. Could play a better half this half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
3 trips to the red zone, only 1 touchdown, and the tight end Weidermeyer 5 catches for 79. Our score at the half: A&M 13, Carolina 3. Back to the studio, Dari Chiz and Doring. Tough to find anything like it in the SEC or anywhere else. Mond scans, he got dropped. On play action, lobs in zone, touchdown, Cordarian Richardson. At the half, the difference is only 10. Will Muschamp's defense has been good enough to hang in there, but his offense is missing their all-time leading receiver, Brian Edwards. Can they find a solution in the second half? On the other side, Jimbo Fisher's team is looking for win number 7. The tight end Weidermeyer has hooked up with Kellen Mond, and the A&M quarterback, his versatility has been the key once again for Texas A&M. Welcome back, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers, Cole Kublik down on the field. How would you summarize this first half?
I think South Carolina's defense did a good job of keeping them in this game. Their offense is still trying to figure out how to be consistent without Brian Edwards. And I think when you miss Brian Edwards, you think of the big explosive plays, but really where they miss him is the short throws on the outside. I mean, that's why he's the career reception leader for South Carolina. The quick throws that keep the sticks moving early in drives.
A very neat custom adopted by the Aggies in the 12th man here at Kyle Field as Anaya Smith takes this kick return all the way out to the 24-yard line. You may know about it. Kyle Helinski's brother Tyler, former quarterback at Washington State, and Emily Ivy, a Texas A&M graduate and a South Carolina graduate, has degrees from both schools. Posted this on Tex Ags. And no surprise that the Aggie faithful would adopt the movement that was launched in Columbia this year. Holding up number 3. Tyler's number, to honor him and to bring attention to it. Helinski's Hope is the charity has been launched by the family. We got a flag on the play on a run to the right side from Isaiah Spiller.
I think this might be a flag on Weidermeyer.
Holding offense number 85, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Good call. Ryan Helinski, a freshman quarterback, didn't expect to be playing so soon for South Carolina, but Jake Bentley was injured the first time out. He wears his brother's number. He honors his memory each and every game. The family doing the same. Kellen Mond and Texas A&M held to just 1 touchdown in the first half, and after the holding penalty on the tight end, and now facing a 1st and 20. Mond to the slant, incomplete. Let's check in with Cole.
Fellas, I talked to South Carolina head coach Will Muschamp coming out from the break, asked him offensively, what does he want to see change? He said tempo. We must go faster. He feels that's the way they can have more success on that side of the football. Defensively, he feels confident. Said they need to keep plugging along. He said we like the way we're covering on the outside, but obviously need to continue to do a little bit more inside.
So South Carolina team that's used to running at tempo. They've run a lot of plays already this season, second most behind LSU. Play clock's already at 7 on 2nd and 20. A&M not set yet. The freshman Spiller picks up 2. And that'll leave 3rd and long. The holding penalty by Weidermeyer really put him in a hole here. And now if they can get a stop, South Carolina's going to have great field position. Third and squirrel run.
Is that a long way?
That's a long way, yeah. It's not as far as dime box. Weidermeyer among those pulling, and Spiller stopped again. It's a gain of just 1. Looks like South Carolina made an adjustment at the half, and they stoned the Aggie run game here on this first possession.
Yeah, and this is not going to go in the stat column, but Javon Kinlaw there shaking the offensive lineman. Colton Prater forces that ball outside. It was trying to get up in that B gap. He's not going to get a tackle. He's not going to get any stats for that, but Kinlaw made that play.
Braden Mann, the nation's best punter, and we got a flag before he can get it off.
Before the snap, false start, number 22, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, down.
Can't have that. There's really no snap count on punt. You just got to watch the ball. So mental mistake there is going to give South Carolina some good field position here.
A couple of mistakes for the Aggies coming out of the locker room. J.C. Horn back to receive this punt. A low one. And Mann will get a hop to make it more respectable, but the nation's best punter wasn't on his best. Well, it turns into 52. Prettier than it looked. Friday, November 22nd. Number 1, Kentucky plays host to Mount St. Mary's in a non-conference matchup at Rupp Arena as Kentucky looks to bounce back from its upset loss at the hands of Walter McCarty in Evansville last time out. That's at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Will Muschamp talked about tempo. In order to get tempo started, this first down play has got to get going in a positive direction.
Helinski on play action. He was pressured, and it's incomplete. Oliver had the coverage, and Justin Matabike brought pressure.
And those are the things that kill drives. A negative play or a 0-yard play on first down can't get into tempo. Now you put yourself in a situation where on 2nd and long, you got to try to at least pick up 6, 7, or 8.
Will Muschamp was pretty sure he saw defensive holding at the least, if not pass interference on that play made by Charles Oliver, but he didn't get the flag. There's Rico Dowdle. It's a loss of 3. You said something positive, nothing positive for South Carolina.
No, and again, another 3rd and long here that South Carolina finds themselves in.
Gamecocks 0 for 6 on 3rd down. Muschamp's letting them have it still. Incomplete. Coverage from Devin Morris, and the Gamecocks will be forced to punt it away.
Well, that's a good ball. It's just really good coverage on the outside by A&M. Like the previous play, A&M was glued to every receiver on that play. Nowhere to go with the ball for Helinski. threw it accurately, which is a better defensive play.
They borrowed your hats. Beautiful punt. Smith pushed all the way back inside the 10. Stays in bounds. And he takes it to the 30-yard line. 58-yard punt, but 22 on the return. And an injured South Carolina player. We'll update you on the injured player, and we'll tell about the emotional story from the '99 Texas A&M team, honored at the half, and what their legacy is with this proud program. It's the 20th remembrance of one of the greatest college traditions. It ended in tragedy. For 90 years, A&M students built a massive bonfire every fall prior to the game against Texas. And on November 18th, 1999, at 2:42 a.m., the construction of the bonfire stack that would be lit the following week collapsed. 12 Aggie students were killed, another 27 injured. And 1 week later, A&M would upset fifth-ranked Texas. 14 unanswered points in the second half. It was the single most emotional college football game ever played here. That team honored at the half, and one of those members standing by with Cole down on the sideline.
Tom, I've got quarterback Randy McCowan from that 1999 Aggies football team. You were honored with a couple of your teammates out here. As football players, it's always cool getting back together with your teammates. What's so special when you get back together with that particular group?
Well, it was just the magnitude around that situation. You know, there were so many factors at play that week. And to be with those guys, you know, it was one of those things we felt like nobody wanted to talk about how we needed to win to kind of help the healing process. And it was just the pressure that led up to that week that, you know, those guys, what we went through that with and pulled through the game, had a victory. And it just was, you know, now when you come back and you celebrate it, it's just very special.
Take us back to that week of practice. What was preparation like when you were dealing with the loss of some of your classmates?
Well, it was kind of an unspoken. Everybody knew what we were dealing with and what we kind of felt like we kind of had to do, but nobody was speaking on it, you know. And so there was a tremendous amount of pressure. I can remember after the game, my younger brother played for SMU at the time. Them and SMU or TCU were playing, and just falling asleep in the middle of that game after it because it was just such a pressure had been lifted. And so, but it was just a heck of a week.
Randy, you mentioned some of the things that you felt like you and your teammates had to do. There was a day that you skipped practice because you and your teammates felt like you needed to be over at the site of the accident to help. Can you tell us about that?
Well, that was a lot of seniors kind of got together, and of course, Coach Slocum at the time, you know, you just had a team that was all on the same page, and we had a lot of success that year because guys were on the same page. And so we get together, decide, you know what, we need to go do what we can, you know. And when we found out that they were moving the logs manually, you know, as football players, we felt like, hey, we're the most qualified on campus to lend a hand. And when they allowed us to, it was just a very moving moment to see what we could do when we all pulled together.
Randy, thank you so much for the time.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, it's obviously emotional anytime that they look back on it, and it's a legacy of that team. And we talked to Mack Brown about it numerous times, and Mack has said, listen, we're the fifth-ranked team in the country. I want to win every game, but I knew at that time that was what was best for Texas A&M. You don't hear rivals talk that way.
No, and you don't really hear a coach kind of humble himself and realize that the game is just a game, and there's certain things that are so much bigger. So Mack Brown's humility in that moment to know that that's exactly what Texas A&M needed to heal, it's pretty impressive. Just shows you.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under further review.
The human element of this game goes so far beyond the four quarters between the lines.
Yep, indeed. There was talk that week that the game was going to be canceled, and when Mack Brown heard what had happened, he immediately pulled to the side of the road. He picked up the phone, called R.C. Slocum, and said, we will do whatever you need us to do. Did he complete the catch? Certainly looked like it. There might have been a bit of a bobble headed towards the sideline.
A little bobble, but I think he regains possession as that last foot hits inbounds. Let's see here. This would be a good look. First bobble. Now, where does this left foot come down? I believe that comes down inbounds.
It would be a 4-yard difference, completion or incompletion. It would still be fourth down anyway, either way. There's the initial bobble, then the gather.
I like it.
After further review, the pass was completed at the 40-yard line It will be fourth down.
So 4th and 2 now instead of 4th and 5. And here's Braden Mann again to punt it away, and J.C. Hornback. Horn won't attempt to return. This one is going to roll inside the 10. It'll be inside the 5 before all is said and done. A 55-yard punt. Well, speaking of that day back in 1999, that fateful day throughout all of Aggie land, R.C. Slocum and Mac Brown had to decide, is this a football game we want to play? Here's the former Aggie coach.
I thought we could draw strength from each other by playing the game, and I wanted to keep my players here so I could be around them and help them get through this. And I thought it'd be helpful for the Aggie family to come together.
So obviously not just an emotional game, but the fact that RC and the players talked about the idea that you can't go out there as a coach and say we need to win this game, because then if you don't, you feel like you let the entire community down. But that comeback against Major Applewhite in Texas turned into perhaps the most notable win in A&M history. South Carolina backed up. And the freshman Kevin Harris finds 4 yards.
Now here's where, if you want, you can really start to push the tempo. And Brian McClendon moved a few games ago from the sideline to the box for this very reason, to use tempo.
There's a tight end, Kyle Markway. And Markway gets shoved forward for another couple. It's a gain of 15.
So McClendon being up in the box, he's now able to see the coverage, the personnel packages without relaying information from a middleman. He's able to get the play calls in much quicker for South Carolina. So when they're positive on first down, they can actually get into the tempo, and here they're going to get slowed back down because of an injury.
That's Jaden Peavy, one of the interior defensive linemen for Texas A&M. And we've got a stoppage of play. 9:42 to go in the third quarter. A&M with a 10-point lead on South Carolina. We'll bring you back to Kyle Field right after this. Has a fresh set of downs, and Ryan Helinski's trying to lead them to a comeback on the road. The Gamecocks, in his brief history with Texas A&M, have never won a game. Helinski is able to dump it out, but it's incomplete. The freshman Kevin Harris got a bit turned around. He was draped by linebacker Buddy Johnson.
A little play action, trying to take a shot downfield. Good coverage on the back end by Texas A&M. And Helinski feels it on his right side here. He's drifting, looking downfield. Finally comes to his check down. Just a little too hot.
And Michael Clemens getting to Helinski from behind.
You can tell the plays that Helinski's comfortable with. They come back to this Y stick play out of an empty formation or a spread formation. It's just an easy read that Helinski's comfortable with, that they feel confident in picking up 4 or 5 and cutting this third down in half.
South Carolina hasn't converted a third down yet, but they haven't had very many less than 5 yards. Pressure, and it's knocked down by Oliver. They're trying to find DeCarrion Joyner, and that pressure got there really fast, and Will Muschamp letting his feelings be heard by the officials nearest him.
And they go 3 receivers to the boundary there. I mean, there's a little contact.
It's the second time it's been Oliver who's been rubbing.
Just Helinski, no time off his back foot. What I didn't like about that, Shi Smith was down standing almost on the sideline. He's your best receiver right now with no Brian Edwards. Got to get him in space.
You know, Smith has been battling some injuries. Flags come flying from all directions, and Is Smith takes it to midfield. He has been electric in the return game. 46-yard punt, 29 on the return, and we await the flag.
During the kick, holding on the receiving team, number 28. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
So Fuller will get an earful. We got 8:40 to go in the third quarter. The difference in this one is only 10. Kellen Mond back at under center after this. On tonight.
Now, he's been sharp. He's been using his legs when it's opportune, but his young freshman tight end, Jalen Weidemeyer, has been an absolute weapon all over the field. 5 receptions, 79 yards on 6 targets. But South Carolina has found a way to get to Mond a few times tonight. They got to continue that trend to keep this close.
Mond hands it off to Spiller. And he'll be ridden out of bounds by Jamie Robinson. 3 of Weidermeyer's 5 catches and a little less than half of his yardage came in the first quarter. So South Carolina has done a much better job on him.
Yeah, did a great job adjusting to really where Weidemeyer has been aligning. He's been off the ball a little bit. They've used him in motions. They've moved him around the football field. So South Carolina's adjusted well, and they've stymied Texas A&M in the red zone on drives. Just a 10-point game right now. If you're South Carolina, you're happy with how your defense has played from the start of the second quarter till now.
On 2nd and 2. Nice move. And Isaiah Spiller picks up a first down. J.C. Horn at the stop. Needed 2, got 5.
R.J. Roderick came in there and almost had a blow-up for a TFL. And Spiller, great job of seeing that at the last minute, making a move and turning it into a positive play.
Spiller averaging 5.5 yards a carry. He went for 217 on 20 carries against Texas San Antonio. That was last time out for A&M a couple weeks ago. Spiller trying to find the edge. Wow. Jamie Robinson brought the lumber.
And see, that's not really the strong suit of Isaiah Spiller. He's more of a downhill runner, doesn't have elite speed, so getting around on the edge is tough. South Carolina does a really good job. Robinson there, especially playing sideline to sideline. A true freshman, one of a few on that back end for South Carolina that he's turning into a good player.
At Lee County High School in South Georgia, that was his 10th tackle of the night. I look back at that play for everybody who complains about targeting and say, it's football, why can't I still hit a guy? That was a perfect, hard hit that didn't draw a flag.
Kept his eyes up, kept his face mask up, didn't dip the head. That's a good, clean, hard hit.
Timeout, A&M. Their first of the half.
Jimbo Fisher's team will be looking at a 2nd and 8 coming out of this timeout in a moment. Texas Aggie band. You'll be hard pressed to find precision like this anywhere else. And I got some help to fill in the block tee today. They always mesmerize me at halftime. Like, I can't leave the booth. I just want to watch their precision.
I can't believe no one runs into each other. It's unbelievable. I have a tough time walking down on the street.
I mean, I almost backed into a car at the hotel today.
Yeah, you almost did.
Here's 2nd and 8. Spiller out of the backfield. Escorted out by Ernest Jones, a gain of 5.
Texas A&M goes 5 wide receivers. They're going to go empty set here.
You smell a quarterback run?
Well, this linebacker right here is what you want to see. If he vacates the box, then you got to worry about quarterback run. Here, this offensive line's got to hold up against 4 rushing.
They need 3 yards. Mon shuffles his feet. Now he's chased. He's dragged down and flicks it incomplete. But it's Aaron Sterling who brought the pressure that time.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket, and the ball crossed the line of scrimmage extended.
Sterling there had a stunt, but he's kind of going to sit there and have eyes on Kellen Mond to make sure he doesn't escape in between the tackles or outside of it. It's a good job by that South Carolina front of handling the empty set and getting to Mond quickly enough to force a 4th down.
Braden Mann again. Ooh. That is a rarity for the reigning Ray Guy Award winner. Never had back-to-back winners in that award. And we'll see where they march this one down to. They'll spot it at the 42-yard line. Just a 24-yard punt. That might be the break South Carolina was looking for. Tune in for the latest edition of Marty McGee Wednesday night, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, right here on the SEC Network. And as always on the ESPN app, nobody talks about Southern culture and football better than these guys, Marty and McGee. Ryan Helinski tonight has completed 50% of his passes for 148 yards. That one's incomplete. It was a forward pass.
This is probably the area that Ryan Helinski has struggled in most this year. Some of the RPO throws, the quick throws of the perimeter. Location is so important. On that play with your receiver running away from you, anything low is going to be so tough for that guy to adjust. On the run, running away from a quarterback, that ball's got to be precisely in a perfect position.
Helinski airs it out into coverage. It is incomplete. Keldrick Carper knocked it away from Xavier Legette.
And that's a play that Helinski's got to come down to a check down. Got a safety playing over the top, a post route. You got to come down to the over route, the shorter, or check that ball down to a running back. The only way you're throwing that is that if that safety comes down low. And now another 3rd and long for South Carolina.
It's a top 5 crowd in Kyle Field's history, 104,957. And they're up for this 3rd and 10. And it's another 3rd down stop by Texas A&M. Justin Matabike dirtied Helinski's jersey.
Boy, and Helinski again, just no time to throw the football here. He's going to end up having a guy in the slot that's going to come open. But Justin Matabike right here is just going to absolutely beat Jordan Rhodes right off the snap. Helinski's got a guy that's going to come open there. I mean, that's a throw that he can make if he's got time to put velocity into it. Just no time to step into that throw.
Helinski was holding his right arm and wrist gingerly when he got up. We'll wait and see if that might have an effect on him. Fair catch taken after a 48-yard punt. So South Carolina team that won on the road against Georgia after Helinski was hurt, and they went to Dakereon Joyner. Now Joyner's been banged up a little bit, but do you consider that if you're South Carolina making a change?
I wouldn't make a change, no. I would try to bring Joyner in a few more times to alleviate some of that pressure on Helinski. He can run the football now. If they're not bringing him in, I'd worry about that hamstring being worse than maybe we thought. That was one thing Brian McClendon said. Keep an eye on that. We'd like to use him more, but he's been hindered by that hamstring. He's not 100% either.
Oddly enough, the hamstring was an issue during the Georgia game. He was only available in an emergency situation, and because of those limitations, he was able to win that game. They only ran 6 plays for him.
Yeah.
Talk about limited playbook. Kellen Mond on a quarterback draw. They turn him around in the backfield, and he's still able to rip off 7.
You know, here's where if you're South Carolina, I think you go away from a little bit of what your identity is. I mean, this is a team that doesn't have to bring a lot of pressure in order to get after the quarterback. But right now, you need to help your offense out. You need to force a turnover, be disruptive in the backfield. Obviously, second short's not the place to do it. But next time you got a regular down and distance, I wouldn't be surprised if they start to dial up the pressure and go man on the outside.
Needed 2, got 3. Spiller again, and that time 6 yards.
Going over left guard there, and I tell you guys, putting the film on Jared Hawker at left guard 73, the most improved offensive lineman that I have seen on this Texas A&M football team, a guy whose technique and fundamentals have really come a long way. Physicality's always been there, toughness has always been there, but he's really honed in on his technique this season.
Junior from North Richland Hills, Texas. Anytime an offensive lineman, especially in Texas, is described as country strong, he can move people. Spiller vacates. They go to him out of the backfield. What a fantastic job by R.J. Roderick to fight off the block, and he holds Spiller to no gain.
Now, Javon Kinlaw came back into the game right before this last play. He was limping a little bit coming back onto the field, as you see double team right there, but it looks like he is not full speed.
He's going to be in the zero nose here again. I say as a former center, that is a scary visual sight.
Explain zero nose.
He's lined up head up on the center, so he essentially can shoot either a gap. Very difficult for a center because you need to set straight back and be ready to go left or right or get bull rushed.
And he got there. He got to Mon, but Mon got it off complete to Osmond. It's going to turn into a huge gain for Texas A&M. Kellen Mond standing tall in the face of pressure. It goes for 27 yards.
And Javon Kinlaw took his offensive lineman, Colton Prater, all the way back into Kellen Mond. Look at this. I mean, that's the power and the size. But look at the throw by Kellen Mond. I mean, he can't even finish his throwing motion, but it's right on the money to Osmond.
As a quarterback, how can you see the receiver in that scenario?
I mean, sometimes you can't. You just kind of know where he's going. You see a flash of it, but you got a big 6'6" guy in your face. You're just throwing that to where you think he's going to be or where you've repped before. Great job by Mond. Under pressure of not being phased. He didn't drift. He didn't sidestep. He stood right there and delivered the throw.
Timeout. Texas A&M. Their second of the half. 30-second timeout.
That might be the play of the game for Kellen Mond and Texas A&M if they can score on this drive. You talked about his improvement under duress from last year to this year. What would you teach a young quarterback about how to be successful in those scenarios?
I mean, it's really, really hard. What I always did and stressed to quarterbacks that I trained, whether it was combine training or college quarterbacks, is practice throwing off platform. Because when you're at this level, half your throws you're not going to be able to step into, at least. And look at here. He's not stepping into that, but he's able to get enough on the ball, even though it's a short throw, off platform to throw the ball accurately. That's something that you have to practice. It doesn't just happen. You have to be able to practice these type of throws. Little flick of the wrist to get the velocity you need on that football.
I don't think you want to practice Javon Kinlaw undoing your chin strap.
No, but you want, in warm-ups, you want to practice throws where your feet are lateral, you're moving to one side or the other and still working on throwing from different arm angles.
Spiller again, the freshman. And he's able to pick up 9. JT eBay takes him out of bounds.
And we just mentioned Jared Hawker. Great block right there to spring that run. That's been the difference tonight. Texas A&M running the football. They've been able to get downhill. Spiller's first few steps have been able to stay downhill, and that's really been the difference when they're successful versus when they're not. They don't control the line of scrimmage, and Spiller's forced to go side to side. That's not his game.
What a huge difference in rush yards, team to team. South Carolina with only 32. Second and 1. Incomplete.
Boy, Robinson's been all over the field. I mean, he's made a few big-time tackles going sideline to sideline, and he's been pretty good in coverage tonight as well. That time, Texas A&M trying to do a little stock and go, a little pump and a wheel route on the outside, but Robinson was all over it.
Baldrian at fullback next to Mon. Spiller stood up. He got the first down before Damani Staley was able to bring him down. Next snap will be the 9th play of this drive. And they've already eaten up more than 4 minutes.
And the defensive front for South Carolina looks a little tired. This is the area of the field that they've been really good in tonight. They're going to depend on that coverage on the outside.
Jared Hocker at left guard moved.
Before the snap, false start offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I mentioned on regular down and distance whether South Carolina's going to start dialing up the pressure. They try to bring a corner blitz on that one. I think that's what they got to do. I mean, I think you trust enough some of your coverage guys on the outside that you can dial up a few pressures here in passing situations.
Look at the flag stuck in the back. Rick Sandage comes over and says, let me help you out. Damani Staley's not supposed to be wearing that, although it compliments his eyes.
I don't know, clashes a little bit.
Oh, you don't agree? Movement again.
Before the snap, false start, number 85 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Weidermeyer. Well, you didn't see outside of the camera, R.J. Roderick, number 10 for South Carolina, and Jamon Osmond jawing at each other, and that's continuing now away from the ball. In fact, Roderick ends up walking all the way into the A&M backfield. Sophomore out of Summerville, South Carolina. 1 second difference in the play clock and the game clock. Complete to Courtney Davis, and a Texas A&M gain of 15. That's how the third quarter will come to an end. We head to the fourth at Kyle Field, home of the 12th man, and Texas A&M with a 10-point lead on South Carolina. Hey, thanks. It feels like a home game for a reason for the Georgia fans right there in Atlanta. 2nd and 5 for Texas A&M. Mond over the middle. It's Courtney Davis again. It's a gain of 17.
It's the exact same play they just ran, and they're just leaving way too much space for Courtney Davis. Look, you got outside leverage. They're kind of bracketing this guy, but look at all the space right here. You can't give an athlete and a high caliber receiver like that much space at the line of scrimmage.
Isaiah Spiller straight ahead finds 4. DJ Wadham to stop.
And they're trying to bracket the coverage play outside with the nickel back and have help inside with the safety, but you got to play a little closer to take away that inside breaking route. It's wide open right now for Texas A&M twice in a row.
This will be the 12th play of the drive. Already 6 minutes consumed. Mon looking in zone, comeback route, and we got a flag on the play, and the pass to Jamon Osmond, who's down just inside the 1. Did he push off, or was he pushed?
I think he might have pushed off.
Pass interference, offense, number 2. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
It's tight man coverage on the outside, and yeah, Israel Mukwama's all over that. I mean, it's not a ton, but anytime you extend that arm, watch this right arm. Push and extend, yep, and it's just enough. right in front of the ref. He's going to call that. Kwame was up around the neck too, so there was a little bit of contact there going both ways, but right in front of the referee on the sideline there.
It leaves the Aggies with 2nd and 21, and the play clock's at 2. They got some on. Didn't go down at first. And that one's a one-hopper and incomplete. DJ Nwanum was the first, Javon Kinlaw the second, and they forced Mond into an off-balance throw.
They had a great adjustment here by South Carolina. They actually manned J.C. Horn on Courtney Davis on the outside, and that's where Mond wants to go. They're trying to work that inside slot receiver, as we saw a couple times a few plays ago, but J.C. Horn, great coverage, and allowed South Carolina's defensive line to get to Mond.
So now 3rd and 21. Thirteenth play of the drive. Nowhere to go for Isaiah Spiller. Aaron Sterling, first on the stop for South Carolina. What a sensational job by South Carolina's defense as a whole tonight. They've held A&M to 13.
Yeah, I mean, A&M's been able to move the ball, but South Carolina has bowed up in the red zone and forced a number of field goals by Texas A&M. And this defense is playing extremely well since the start of the second quarter.
Seth Small from 40. Got the leg, and he splits the uprights. Small, the sophomore from Katy, Texas, 2 of 3 tonight. He's opened up Texas A&M's advantage. 16-3 Aggies. Now sawing the horns here at Kyle Field, and the 6th largest attendance in school history, 104,957 came through the turnstiles tonight on what was a beautiful day for football. Temperatures have dipped since the sunset, obviously, but what a great day here in Aggie land. No return for South Carolina. Ryan Helinski's taking some shots tonight. And the freshman from Orange, California at a Lutheran high school has not just dirtied the jersey, but you see his left hand. He's got a new wrap on that hand going all the way around the thumb. This was the last hit he took. And watch. The hand got sandwiched, got in the face mask of the defender. Helinski incomplete, trying to find Chad Terrell.
Yeah, and you're not going to abandon the run right now, but they're going to have to throw the football to come back in this game. And I keep going back to Shi Smith. I mean, he's back, he's healthy, seemingly 100% from the hamstring injury, and just 1 reception for 41 yards down the sideline, 5 targets. Got to find a way to get him the ball in the short area of the field. Got to get a quick throw to Shi Smith, get him in space, and let him make a play.
Helinski only 3 of 11 in the second half for 18 yards.
Even after that one deep ball, Jordan, they haven't taken many more shots down the field like it.
Now they have it. The one post that I think Helinski misread with the safety high that he threw into double coverage. But you're right, Cole. Outside of that, they haven't. And even more so when they get these 3-by-1 sets, they've had some room at the line of scrimmage to work. As you see right here, a lot of space. That's Shi Smith in the slot right there, number 13.
Helinski looking for Smith. He hesitated on the route, and it looked like on the last 3 passes, Helinski and his receivers weren't on the same page.
Yeah, that one there looked like a 2-way go. A lot of times you get in that 3-by-1 set, and that middle slot receiver has a 9 route, a vertical. But if the corner's hard outside, he can go inside. If he's inside, the receiver can go outside. On that one, Helinski was throwing and looking to the outside, and Shi Smith took the inside route.
Last 2 drives for South Carolina been littered with incompletions. 0 runs, 6 incompletions, back-to-back 3-and-outs. Anaya Smith receives a punt and is immediately dropped. A 42-yard punt. 12:16 to go. A&M will be looking to eat more clock with Kellen Mond directing the offense. Interesting development at Baylor. 3 turnovers for Hurts.
You know what doesn't make a whole lot of sense about that? Joe Burrow's sitting in 9B. I mean, the Heisman frontrunner's got a middle seat? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it might be a regional jet. He could be back there by the blue water.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
At least get him in aisle, stretch out the legs, you know?
Exero. 3 quarterbacks among Heisman candidates. All 3 started their college careers at a different school. And all 3 flying into different airports, according to our graphic.
Yeah. Newark, JFK, LaGuardia.
Burrow's thrown for 489 on 5 touchdowns. Here's Spiller. Gain of 11, and Joe Burrow trying to join Billy Cannon as a Heisman winner for LSU. I don't mean to be negative, but what has to happen for him not to get it at this point?
I'm not sure if there's any way. I mean, Jalen Hurts has to bring them back in this game, and they have to continue to win out and make the playoffs, in my opinion, because Chase Young being suspended, I think that gets him out of it. Tua's out for the season. That gets him out of it. Who else is there?
Chase Young will return from his suspension next time out for Ohio State as they get Penn State. Here's Spiller to the right side, and he picks up the first down. Hey, you know, Cole, it seems like at about this time last year, we're saying the same thing about Tua Tagovailoa. That the ankle injury hit, Hurts went nuts. Pardon me, Kyle Murray went nuts, and things change. You remember the same way I do last year?
I absolutely do. And that SEC championship game played a big role in that for Tua Tagovailoa as well. Because remember, he had a pretty good game in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. So things can change, but I'm with Jordan. It would take a monumental collapse for Joe Burrow not to win the Heisman Trophy.
And the thing is, I mean,
Cordarian Richardson's got room to rumble. And he hit the pylon on his way down. He is ruled out. Although he got the pylon, did he step out before so? It's a 31-yard run, inches away from a touchdown.
His left foot definitely comes out of bounds, but it's bang bang to when he hits the pylon. Texas A&M, they don't care. They're going to go.
And it'll be Kellen Mond to keep. And Mond able to take it over, I thought, but no signal. There it is, touchdown, Texas A&M. Kellen Mond just stole a touchdown from Cordarian Richardson.
As a quarterback, you love that. Don't let him review it. Let me just take it, coach. Tell you what, he's taking his fair share of licks tonight. Richardson deserved that, but Mond deserved it too. They are right there.
Jimbo Fisher's offense has found just enough, thanks to his defense, by the way, which is holding South Carolina to its lowest offensive yardage output of the season. The season low was 270 in the opener against North Carolina. South Carolina with only 180 tonight. Cordarian Richardson, the transfer from UCF, was a size 13 away from getting in the end zone. Stepped out of bounds just outside of the goal line, and Kellen Mond said, thanks for getting me there. I'll take it the rest of the way. Mond's 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Aggies in control. I can understand why you'd be excited. Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow.
What?
I thought you were the movie guy. South Carolina's going to bring it out. And Xavier Legette's trying to find room from the left side. He's in a foot race. And he hurdled man to get a few more. What a return by Xavier Legette. 50 yards to set South Carolina up.
Xavier Legette brought down by number 34.
And now he's touching on his hammies. Trying to stretch it out a little bit, it looks like.
he's a special athlete, just a true freshman. Big body, 6 foot, 205, and you see him come up and grab the hamstring. I mean, that's been the story this year for South Carolina. Everybody's going down with hamstrings. Joyner, Shi Smith, now Leggett.
Here's Rico Dowdle. And he gets dragged down by Justin Matabike. Gain of 5. Helinski pressured, will tuck it and slide down. It's a gain of 4. There have been very few positive yardage plays for Ryan Helinski in the second half, especially through the air. Only 4 of 14 for 23 yards in the passing game.
Yeah, they've been trying to take shots downfield and just hasn't been there.
Why not?
Texas A&M is doing a good job of playing coverage on the back end. You know, you're afforded a little bit of a lead. You can be safer on the back end, especially with Texas A&M being able to get some pressure with 4 and 5, not having to add anybody. Just hasn't been there downfield for Helinski.
Aggies came in with good numbers, 5th best passing defense in the SEC. And Helinski off target. And that Chad Terrell, the little used wide receiver.
Yeah, and that right there, you see how early Helinski got rid of that ball. That's the effect pressure has on you as a quarterback. You get hit a few times, you get rushed a few times, as Helinski has this game. You know, Darnold said you see ghosts. Sometimes your clock just starts to move faster than it really should when the game has gone this way for Helinski.
I would also think he's got to be hurt having guys out there that have not played a whole lot of snaps in games this season. Helinski batted away, and a pass that was headed incomplete. As a reminder, Brian Edwards, the all-time leading receiver in South Carolina history, has not played a snap in this game.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, they're banged up. I mean, Tavian Feaster out. I would dare to say that Rico Dowdle doesn't look 100%. He's got a knee brace on. He's back out there, but the injuries on the outside. No Brian Edwards, Shi Smith not being quite 100%, or Trey Smith out. You got true freshmen out there trying to gel with the true freshman quarterback. Brian McClendon said, you know, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul right now. We're trying to figure out ways to make it work with a bunch of young guys who aren't on the same page. So you can't put it all on Ryan Helinski. He's doing the best he can.
Trips to the right, quick hitter to Markway, the tight end, and he's going to carry some dudes with him down to the 25. It's a gain of 14.
A guy in Markway's room that they're missing, probably hurting as well. No Nick Muse for this team. Physically in the run game, helping in protection and catching the football. Another big loss.
So that's Feaster, Muse, Edwards, all out. Edwards watching solemnly from the South Carolina sideline. He came out with a bunch of energy, jumping around before the game. Out of the backfield, Dowdle makes Buddy Johnson miss and then paid the price. Depleted after a gain of just 2. Jaden Peavy rocked him pretty good.
Ooh, it's a big body going really fast. That's like kind of like how Cole hit you the other day.
It is a little bit like that, except I didn't have any pads on, just a pair of blue jeans. Dowdle may have short armed that one. You can't blame him because Buddy Johnson was steaming down the tracks. Third and 8, South Carolina just 2 of 12 on third down tonight. Helinski 2 of 9 through the air.
Another miscommunication there on the outside. I mean, I was looking down there. The 3 receivers in the game on that play came into this game with a total of 3 receptions on the year total. So you can expect miscommunications, and Texas A&M brings pressure, and Helinski just nowhere to go with the ball again.
Trey Atkins, the redshirt freshman, was the closest receiver that time. Jay Urich, one of the backup quarterbacks, is in the game now as a wide receiver. He spent time at both positions. 4th and loud. Helinski, sideline shot, off the mark, and South Carolina turns it over on downs. Midway through the 4th quarter, Texas A&M has a 20-point lead in the ball. 7. One of the highest scoring games and highest yardage games in SEC history. Cole, what did you see in that Georgia-Auburn game today?
Well, I was not surprised that Auburn couldn't find ways to move the football. I think that Georgia defense is going to begin to get the credit that it deserves. They've been one of the best in the nation for the last 5 or 6 weeks. Surprised that Jake Fromm didn't have better numbers. I didn't think the Georgia offensive line, as good as they are, was going to be able to push the Auburn front around. But that's a huge win for Georgia. And their next test is going to come in the SEC championship game, in my opinion. And I don't think it's a great matchup with the LSU Tigers, to be honest.
You saw the loss there. P.J. Fleck couldn't row the boat into Iowa City. They suffered their first loss of the season after the huge win at home against Penn State a week ago. Wow, here he goes. It's a foot race, and Cordarian Richardson wants this one. He's being tracked. They won't get him. Cordarian Richardson with a 75-yard touchdown run. Cordarian Richardson has carried the ball 5 times tonight. He is averaging 26 yards a carry. Get in there, Dirk.
Camera guy mixing it up in there.
Seth Small for the point after.
Watch the block by left guard Jared Hocker, who we mentioned early, goes by the nickname of Country Strong. He's going to climb to the 2nd level and seal the backside linebacker, which is going to allow the cutback by Richardson here, which springs him for the touchdown. That's a 330-pound offensive lineman getting out in space and blocking a linebacker.
And kudos, by the way, to Israel Mukwamu. He gave chase the whole way. He never gave up on it. Cordarian Richardson rushed for 5,000 yards in high school. Was Tennessee's Mr. Football.
I mean, just what the doctor ordered against a team that's got a lot of talent up front. Texas A&M has finally found a way to consistently run the football against a good opponent, a Power 5 opponent, something they really haven't done this year. And 307 rush yards tonight for Texas A&M. That's been the difference.
Congrats all around for Richardson. 5 carries of 131 yards.
That's a good average, huh?
Good day at the office. Takarian Joyner, redshirt freshman from North Charleston. And a Fort Dorchester is going to enter the game for Carolina. He came out of the bullpen to lead the Gamecocks to the win at Georgia. Now 1st down, he finds Shi Smith. And Shi Smith finds nowhere to go but a flag.
That's what I'm surprised we didn't see more of with Ryan Helinski in the game. That's really the first short pass they've attempted to Shi Smith.
And wasn't that a goal of Brian McClendon to go to that more often tonight?
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, talking to Brian McClendon, the offensive coordinator for South Carolina this week, he mentioned against App State he thought he got away from some of those short perimeter throws early. I mean, that's what's tough about being an offensive coordinator. You get in a zone, you start to see what you feel you can do and what you can't do. Sometimes you get away from things without even thinking about it.
Joyner delivers a strike.
Tell you what, though, I don't think I've ever been more impressed with a true freshman who, oh, by the way, was not 100% healthy, coming into a game against Georgia and staring down the barrel.
Look at that. Another one, and a lick will draw multiple flags. Leon O'Neal Jr. Remember, A&M's got Georgia and LSU still to come. And Trey Atkins, the freshman out of Simpsonville, goes immediately to the South Carolina sideline. And this could be costly for A&M as well. O'Neal.
That one's going to be reviewed as well.
The result of the play is a completed catch. Personal foul targeting number 9, defense. The previous play is under further review.
So this is a defenseless receiver, so it does not have to be crown of the helmet. Any contact forcible to the head or neck area can be deemed as targeting, and that's pretty forcible.
And that would cost O'Neal first half against Georgia.
Now, what a throw by Joyner, though. I mean, coming into the game, 3 straight completions. That's a difficult throw for a true freshman. A whole route against cover 2. It's a vertical on the outside. He's got to throw that in between a safety and a flat defender, and it's got to land between 18 and 22 yards for that to work, and he put it right on the money.
O'Neal upset out on the field. Jimbo Fisher trying to get him back to the sideline. Doesn't want anything worse to happen.
Let's go to Matt Austin, our rules official. Matt, how do you see this one?
Tom, this one's kind of close. It's a nice hard hit by the defender. He comes in, he lowers his head a little bit, but I think most of the contact is shoulder to shoulder. There is a little contact with his helmet to the receiver's helmet. It looks to be slightly a glancing blow. It's certainly not crown. I would not be surprised to see this overturned because from what we've seen this year, if it's not a direct crown of the helmet hit to the receiver's head or his body somewhere, they've overturned a lot of these.
And that's been an adjustment in the rules. Matt, is the key in your mind the fact that that contact was with the hand and shoulder before the helmet?
In my opinion, yes. And it's more of a glancing blow to the head.
All right, thank you. Here's the call.
After further review, there is no targeting. First down, South Carolina.
So this is where I think it's interesting because on the field, that blow looks very violent. And then you slow it down, and you're kind of watching it in a vacuum, and it doesn't look so much.
And the key to using the word violent is, as the rule is interpreted this year, the attack is such a key part of it. And when you use the word attack, that equates to violence. Here's Joyner, and Joyner gets stuck for no gain. Devin Morris from his spot coming up to make the stop.
And so a good job there by the refs of kind of evaluating intent, and they didn't feel that the helmet was lowered enough. And you're right, the hands contacting first.
That's 2nd and 10. Joyner chase, and that'll be a Texas A&M sack. Forced out of bounds by Andre White Jr. and a loss of 6. First sack of the night for the Aggies. And that'll force South Carolina into a 3rd and long.
That's just a mistake by a young quarterback. You get outside that pocket, you can flip that ball right at the line of scrimmage marker to throw that away instead of taking a 4-yard loss, 5-yard loss there for a sack.
Joyner unloads towards the end zone, and that one is almost intercepted by Charles Oliver. Through his hands. It leaves South Carolina with a 4th and 16.
Just excellent coverage by Oliver on the outside. Does a really good job of forcing Shi Smith to the sideline with his bodies. He's playing the football the whole way. But right before the camera got to him, he's pushing Shi Smith with his body right there. That's great legal contact. You're not going to get called for anything when you're turning around playing the football.
South Carolina's turned it over on downs once already tonight. Aggies rush only 3. Joyner escapes the pocket, got a long way to go. Makes 2 men miss, and Joyner gets spun around on a nasty collision that draws a flag. It's a 12-yard run, and Joyner still down. Damani Richardson turned him around, and I don't think Joyner saw that train coming.
Well, you get a little glimpse into the athleticism of DeCarrion Joyner.
Personal foul, targeting defense number 26. The previous play is under further review.
This is going to be another interesting one. I mean, again, you're going to evaluate intent and was there an attack. I mean, yes, he's lowering, but as a defender, he thinks DeCarrion's going to continue going outside, and as he stops up, the defender isn't quite ready for that. And there is contact there. It is forcible to the head or neck area, but was there an attack? Was there intent?
It certainly was violent. Let's bring Matt Austin in again. Matt, two calls in the span of a couple plays. How's this one different?
Yeah, Tom, this one, there isn't really much contact with the body. There is an indicator. He lowers his head. It does seem to be an attack, although at the last minute he does seem to try to pull himself off. But there was significant contact to the head, as you can tell by the injury to the player. So
I also thought that Richardson was trying to lead with the forearm.
That's what it looks like to me.
It never quite got there for whatever reason.
Right. I agree.
Is it dangerous to open this up into interpretation when it comes to intent? I mean, it seems like a very difficult task for a replay official.
Well, if you can take the intent out of it, that takes the attack away. So if he doesn't intend to hit him, then there's no attack. That's one of the criteria. Then you would have to pick this flag up and overturn it.
Joyner
this one's close.
Yep, Joyner being helped off the field. Matt, we appreciate it. Here we go.
After further review, there is no targeting. The ball carrier was short of the line to gain. It was 4th down. First down, Texas A&M.
So twice an Aggie player saved by the bell that would have cost 2 of their key secondary defenders from playing in the first half next week against Jake Fromm in Georgia.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a good call. I think DeCarrion Joyner stopped his momentum before Damani Richardson was really able to adjust to that. He tries to lead with the helmet. I don't think there was a significant indicator of lowering the helmet or an attack. So I think another good job of the referees to sort this one out, make the right call, not take anybody off the field.
Well, DeCarrion Joyner is being taken off the field, and if you think about key offensive players, Trey Atkins out, Edwards out, Muse out, Feaster out, Brian Edwards out. Back to Texas A&M. And the Aggies switching it up at quarterback.
They got 2 quarterbacks in there. James Foster took that last snap, but Connor Blumrick in there as well. We saw at the end of last week take a few snaps at running back.
Yeah, that's a big running back.
Not last week, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, last time out. Foster hands it to Blumrick. It was a move that was necessitated by the injuries they had at running back, and they gave Connor Blumrick, sophomore from Pearland, Texas, an opportunity. A couple carries against Mississippi State, 3 more against UTSA, and they said this guy's got a good feel for it. Now, sometimes he runs too tall, but he's got a good feel for the game.
I saw him down on the sidelines before the game say, hey, you going to get any snaps at running back today? He kind of laughs and says, hey, you look good. He's like, don't lie to me. I was like, well, you're 6'5", so you could lower your pad level a little bit, but you looked pretty good. He's an athlete. He helps out in special teams at practice as well. He just wants to get on the field.
Yeah, can't blame him.
Previous play is under further review.
There's a thought that maybe the ball came loose.
Yeah, I think Rick Sandage actually got up with the ball in his hand, probably checking to see when it actually exchanged possession.
Oh, that ball is
definitely out.
Is there an immediate recovery?
Yeah.
That looks pretty immediate to me.
Sandage forced it. Sandage found it. And South Carolina should have an opportunity to find the end zone here.
It's that ball just a little low for Blumrick. What you want to do there when they teach ball security, you want to punch your chin. So you want to get that ball vertical, the point more vertical towards your chin.
After further review, there was a fumble on the play with an immediate recovery by South Carolina. It'll be first down for South Carolina at the 12-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 4 minutes and 1 second.
First turnover tonight. They'll put a half minute back on and they'll say, hey, Blumrick, let's go back to quarterback.
You remember watching Tiki Barber in the NFL? Remember how he used to carry the football?
High.
Really high, straight up and down. That fist was almost right under his chin. Well, that makes it nearly impossible for a hand to get in and create any leverage on the football. So as a running back, anytime that's low, it opens up the belly of that football to pop out. And as a quarterback, you don't rep it enough, right? You don't get hit enough with the ball in your hands like that.
They'll be forced to bring Ryan Helinski back in the game after DeCarrion Joyner was injured on his last carry. Nice catch. Kevin Harris. Gain of 7. Back of the end zone, too tall. Shi Smith at 5'10" was the intended receiver. If we had a mic on a receiver who talked trash, what would it sound like after an incompletion?
A lot of bleeps if our truck was any good at their job.
I mean, Shi Smith never stops.
He's probably blaming the quarterback. I mean, any receiver. I was wide open, man. He's got to hit me. I had you beat.
Helinski crossing routes. He goes outside, batted away by Charles Oliver. We're happy to have Oliver back. He was injured, didn't play against Ole Miss or Mississippi State, and a flag afterwards, it looked like. Or was that on the play?
It was a little late, but it was right after the pass breakup. Again, just Helinski not able to set his feet. And that's really the story of tonight. A lot of incompletions on the stat line. But Helinski has not been able to step into many throws, especially in the second half.
After the play, personal foul, face mask, offense. 15-yard penalty. It'll be 4th down.
Didn't get a number. Was it on Smith?
I think it had to be. A little frustration, maybe.
Yep.
And a little after the play. Kind of surprised they ended up throwing that one.
Here's Parker White. Product out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Wando High School. 39-yard attempt from the hash. Charlton, the punter, is the holder. And he pushes it through from 39. Second made field goal tonight from White. Going into the season, we all knew what Texas A&M's schedule looked like, and the question was, could Jimbo Fisher's team be the kind of program that could spoil the college football playoff, not win all 4 against top 10 teams? As it stands, they're going to face 3 #1 teams. They've got Georgia and LSU left. Are they talented enough to win one of those games?
I think definitely you look at that Georgia game, because Georgia on offense hasn't been as explosive as LSU and really hasn't been as explosive as they were last year. So if Texas A&M can run the football like this, they absolutely can. If they show up like we have seen them other times this year, not being able to run the football, being one-dimensional, that's not the recipe.
Number 14 for Texas A&M
Kellen
is
Mond
now wearing number
would
87.
be the key. We've got a jersey change, which is nice to know in a game that is non-competitive at this point. But it seems like, based on what we hear from the A&M coaches and as we watch Jimbo Fisher's offense, the quarterback run for them to have success is going to be paramount against elite teams like number 4 Georgia and number 1 LSU.
Absolutely, especially with how good Georgia is against the run. What the quarterback design runs do, it allows you to get an extra defender to the side and to the point of attack, which is so crucial against a team that's as fundamentally sound as Georgia. You're not going to have many wide open gaps for your running back. So if you can add an extra blocker, get one more helmet, one more hat to the point of attack, that's when lanes can open up. But again, you got to be careful with Mond. You don't want to run him too much. You can sprinkle it in to mix things up and keep the defense on their heels.
Cole, that Georgia defense looked pretty good this afternoon against Auburn. How do you think A&M matches up with them from that standpoint?
Well, it starts up front for that Georgia defense. Tyler Clark, Jordan Davis, those guys are playing really good football. So, like Jordan mentioned, running the football, not going to be easy. The back end is what a lot of people don't talk about. You put that Florida film on, man-to-man coverage against a really good group of receivers, they can hang there as well. It'll be tough sledding for this A&M offense.
That Florida game was a great one for Jake Fromm. Their third down success when Georgia had the football was magnificent. Gain of 4 with 3:20 to go and counting.
Here's the thing, at the end of the day, the number one thing you have to even pretend like you're going to match up with Georgia is defensive line play. And A&M has that. Justin Matabike, Bobby Brown, Michael Clemens, they should be able to at least put up a fight against a really good Georgia offensive line. And if you can just start there, I think that's what you need to at least begin to build a game plan to give you success against that team.
James Foster, quarterback. Ryan Helinski, tough day at the office for South Carolina. Gain of 4 that time. Jacob Cabody, sophomore from Baton Rouge, seeing his first action in 4 games tonight. Had 11 carries earlier this season in the Lamar blowout, 11 of his 28 on the year. Cabody got popped coming through the hole. Tyler Scoggin, backup tight end, seeing some time as well. How about A&M turning into a program that's sending tight ends to the next level? Chase Sternberger in town with the Packers off this weekend. He was an incredible weapon for him last year. And the guy they thought would be leading the Baylor Cup at tight end this season, 6'6", 250-pound freshman, out for the year with an injury. And Jalen Weidermeyer has been great in his place.
How about that duo they're going to have next year?
Yeah.
You could have Glenn Beal back with those two as well.
Beal more of a blocking tight end. Connor Blumrick, part-time running back, gets the carry.
I love it. Give him another chance, right?
Sure.
Let him shake off the fumble.
Just, I think our viewers would appreciate knowing what's the difference in an average practice for a backup quarterback versus a backup running back.
It's a lot more running.
Yeah.
At quarterback, you think you're tired, and then you try another position, you see how much the running backs, the receivers are running, you go, yeah, I don't really do that much in practice.
Little difference in contact there as well.
Yep. High formation with Baldry, the fullback here. And the snap was dropped. Foster had to fall on it. Must be new for Foster, huh?
Not a lot of high schools go under center at all anymore. So something these young quarterbacks got to learn in a Jimbo Fisher offense, taking snaps from under center.
Kellen Mond threw for 221. He ran for another 47. Brodarian Richardson ran for 130. Isaiah Spiller ran for 129. And two guys have been on a couple staffs together meet at midfield. Jimbo Fisher finds his 7th win since Texas A&M joined the SEC. Only LSU, Alabama, Georgia, and A&M have had winning seasons each and every year. Jimbo's standing by with Cole.
Coach, you go over 300 yards rushing tonight. A lot of two-back from you tonight. Why was that formation able to give you so much success?
We lost. We got momentum in the first half, and then we lost, and we went back to some base things. We knew how they were lining up to get a hat to a hat, and we just started executing. And then when the flow got going, and we mixed it up with the counter, and then the boss, and the weak boss, and lower inside run, and we got going, and it got a rhythm.
You told me before the game, Kellen Mond's the kind of guy that you would like to play with because of his toughness. Was tonight a perfect example of that?
He got hit a lot. He got hit a lot, made a lot of big plays, was banged up a little bit, but he just kept battling, and our guys believe in him. They're going to do everything when he's leading them. They're going to follow. With what's next for you, your defensive line is going to have to play good football. They played great football tonight. How can you continue to have that performance from them the rest of the season? That's what we got to have. Our defense was the key tonight. Because second half, we stunk it up offensively in the beginning, and then we got good, but then the defense was the key tonight. They were playing, and we controlled the line of scrimmage, and that was the key. Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
And Jimbo Fisher and his son in victory today. And they got two tough ones coming up, Georgia and LSU. If Kellen Mond can replicate this success, A&M has a chance not only for a signature win, but to spoil the college football playoff.
And if Jalen Weidemeyer can have that big of a role, this Texas A&M offense complementing with the running game is going to be really dangerous. And they'll push Georgia on the outside and the perimeter. It's be a question of this defense moving forward.
Cole is standing by with Kellen. They might fire the cannon a couple more times, Cole, so you might need to duck.
I think we're under attack here, Kellen. Your offense put up some numbers. You were under attack all night long. How are you feeling physically after that game?
I feel pretty banged up, but I mean, it's another SEC win, another SEC play, so obviously it's going to be real physical, but we were able to come out of here at home, last home game of the season, and come out with a win.
When the run game gets going the way that it did tonight, how does that change your attitude, your demeanor, your mindset as a quarterback?
Just makes it a lot easier for the pass game, and the running backs did a really good job tonight, both Isaiah and 25. So, I mean, both of them did a really good job, and we were able to, pop some big runs for us in the offense.
Now, when you come off a bye week, I know there's certain things that you want to try to accomplish in that first game out that you'll carry over through the rest of the season. What did you work on in that off week that you know you accomplished tonight?
Just playing a little bit faster, and we obviously knew South Carolina most of the time, especially on third down, was going to bring some blitzes. So the receivers were able to get open on some big-time routes, and we were able to convert on those.
Thank you, Kellen.
Thank you.
Cole, Oklahoma is putting the finishing touches on Baylor right now. They just picked him off to likely in that game. That means there's only 3 undefeateds left. Kellen Mond and Texas A&M will have a chance Thanksgiving weekend to whittle that number down even further. Aggies controlled this one after some early stops by the South Carolina defense. Kellen Mond and Texas A&M notch a 30-6 victory. A 17-point fourth quarter for Texas A&M. All Aggies. Weidemeyer was key early, and South Carolina, through injuries and penalties, lost key players from before the game to all the way to the end. 30-6 is our final. For Jordan Rogers, Cole Kublik, I'm Tom Hart. Good night from College Station. It's time for SEC Now.